Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack some truly fascinating research on how the trademarked brands we interact with every single day might literally alter our physical and cognitive reality. Seriously, take a second and look down at your shoes right now, or maybe the pen sitting on your desk. We usually think of brands as just marketing, right? Just logos printed on fabric or stamped on a cardboard box. But we're going to explore scientific evidence suggesting that certain brands might actually be hacking our brains and bodies to make us perform better. So let's dive right in with a seemingly simple question. Does slapping a famous logo on your sports gear actually improve your physical abilities? Think about it. If you splurge on the premium running shoes or the branded golf club, are you just paying for better materials? Or are you actually buying a real, tangible boost in your own performance? Now, to understand why this is such a provocative question, we really need to look at how we normally view advertising. Critics of modern marketing have long argued that corporate branding is basically just a form of psychological manipulation. They say that through emotional appeals and just relentless repetition, brands trick us. They create these irrational, stubborn habits, and they get us to pay premium prices for stuff that, frankly, isn't functionally any better than the generic version. And traditionally, the law has looked at trademarks through a pretty dry economic lens. It's basically seen as just an information shortcut. A trademark exists to reduce your search costs as a consumer. So if you want a consistent cup of coffee, that green Starbucks logo tells you exactly what you're going to get, without you having to go investigate the coffee beans yourself. It guarantees a consistent level of quality, and it rewards the company for keeping that quality up. But here is where things get really, really interesting. Recent empirical marketing research by Jake Linford, which was published in the Pepperdine Law Review, introduces a total paradigm shift in how we interact with branded objects. This research suggests that both the critics and the traditional economists might actually be missing a massive piece of the puzzle. It turns out brands do way more than just signal where a product came from. The huge twist here is that we're moving away from that traditional information model, where brands just communicate source and quality, and we're stepping into a radical new placebo model. In this model, high-performance brands deliver an actual measurable placebo effect. Just like a sugar pill can sometimes cure your headache if you truly believe it's real medicine, a brand name can actually enhance your physical or cognitive abilities purely through the power of expectation. The brand itself literally becomes a performance enhancer. Okay, let's look at the Garvey experiments, because they tested this using an absolutely brilliant setup. Researchers had subjects come in to play a golf putting game. Now here's the secret. Every single person was handed the exact same golf putter. The weight, the grip, the metal, literally identical. But the researchers slapped different brand labels on them. One group got a putter labeled Nike, obviously a brand with a massive high-performance reputation. Another group got Starter, which is viewed as a weaker brand. And the control group got a putter with no label at all. Get this. The results were staggering. Participants using the putter they believed was made by Nike sank their putts in 20% fewer strokes than the control group. Just let that sink in for a second. The physical tool was identical in every conceivable way, but the mere perception that they were wielding a high-performance Nike club actually made them 20% better at the physical act of playing golf. So the really crucial point here is, how did these subjects explain their sudden burst of athletic prowess? Well, when researchers broke down the data to see who or what the participants credited for their awesome putting, they found something amazing. The Nike users unconsciously credited their own innate skills for the win. They didn't think, wow, this Nike putter is doing all the work. No, they experienced reduced stress, a huge boost in self-esteem, and basically thought, wow, I am a really good golfer today. They internalized the placebo effect completely. And look, this measurable placebo effect isn't just limited to sports. It actually works across a huge variety of cognitive and physical tasks. Researchers have seen this exact same phenomenon affecting everything from how well you do on a math test, to your scores on GMAT practice exams, how you drive in video games, and, incredibly, even how long you can squeeze a physical hand grip before your muscles get tired. Let's look at cognitive testing, for example. We all know how stressful math tests are, right? Well, researchers gave subjects generic, sound-reducing foam earplugs to wear while taking a really tough math test. Half the group was told the earplugs were made by 3M, a brand famous for high-performance industrial gear. The other half just got unbranded earplugs. You guessed it, the subjects wearing the 3M earplugs answered significantly more math questions correctly. The brand gave them confidence, it lowered their test anxiety, and it actually made them smarter in the moment, or at least calm enough to show how smart they really were. Or check out this fascinating study by Brassel and Gips. Players of a racing video game drove digital cars wrapped in different brand logos. The players who drove the car wrapped in the Red Bull logo actually drove way more aggressively. They unconsciously adopted Red Bull's brand identity of speed, power, and extreme risk-taking. And because of that, they took wilder risks that resulted in this crazy U-shaped performance curve. They either achieved their absolute fastest track times ever, or they totally crashed and got their absolute slowest, all because they were pushing the digital car to its absolute limits. Now, you might naturally be wondering, what happens if we pit a performance brand against a high-prestige luxury brand? Like, if I use a ridiculously expensive, fancy brand with a massive reputation, surely I'll feel even better and perform even better, right? Well, to test that exact assumption, researchers ran the golf putting experiment again, only this time they threw in a putter labeled with the ultra-luxury fashion brand Gucci, just to see if high prestige translates into high performance. The numbers paint a pretty clear picture here, and it's probably not what you'd expect. Subjects using the Nike putter averaged 1.44 strokes. The unlabeled control group averaged 1.91. But the subjects using the Gucci putter actually performed the worst of everybody, averaging 2.11 strokes. So you might look super stylish holding a Gucci putter, but it is absolutely not going to lower your handicap. Even though Gucci is highly recognizable and prestigious, it just doesn't carry a performance-enhancing reputation in our minds. The placebo effect is highly specific to the meaning of the brand, not just its fame or how much it costs.
Okay, but hold on, there is a catch to all this. Actually, there are two catches. The placebo boost completely vanishes under certain conditions. First off, if the consumer is already a highly skilled expert at the task, like an actual professional golfer, the brand placebo does absolutely nothing. Their own innate skill completely overrides the psychological boost. Second, the effect is incredibly price sensitive. If a participant believes they bought the high-performance branded item at a steep discount, poof, the magic disappears. Our brains seem to subconsciously tie the retail price directly to the potency of the placebo. Crazy, right? There is also a major external threat that completely unravels this psychological boost, and that is the introduction of counterfeit goods into the market. Obviously, we all know fakes steal sales from companies, but the psychological research reveals a much darker side for us consumers. Counterfeit goods actively harm our cognitive experience. They don't just trick the buyer, they actually unravel the very psychological benefits a genuine brand normally provides. Studies by Mahdi Amar and others show that when participants use a product they believe to be a counterfeit, it creates this deep feeling of moral disgust. And this disgust is literally contagious. Using a fake product actually decreased the user's performance on tasks, but even worse, that negative feeling spilled over and ruined their performance later on when they were given a genuine product to use. The counterfeit physically degraded their ability to perform. So, this brings us all the way back to rethinking trademark law as a whole. Traditionally, we punish copycats just to protect a company's bottom line and keep consumers from getting confused. But if high-performance brands provide these objectively measurable psychological benefits, literally making us better at math, better at golf, and reducing our stress, then perhaps protecting trademarks isn't just about corporate profits at all. It's about safeguarding a genuine, measurable consumer advantage. When you protect a high-performance mark, you're literally protecting the consumer's placebo effect. So I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder the next time you're shopping for running shoes or choosing a pen for a big exam or even just buying earplugs. If a brand name objectively lowers your stress, increases your self-esteem, and measurably makes you better at what you do, even if the physical object is identical to a generic version, is it really just a marketing trick, or is that psychological boost exactly what you're paying for? Thanks so much for joining us on this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.